Hello, everybody. And folks, we made it. We made it here to the main event. The Mock Draft 2025. We're on Mock Draft Central. Shout out to Eric Barlow. He's another YouTuber. Saw him use this. I was like, what website's this shit? So, found it. You guys know how I feel about PFF, those geeks. And, Pro Football Network has one. It's alright. NFL Draft Buzz, I think, has one. I don't really like their setup. It's kind of weird. Or their layout, I guess. The Draft Net, NFL Draft Buzz, Draft Network does like subscriptions. Past couple of years, I told you guys we don't do that shit. Let's just get right into it. The Titans, number one. We all know what's gonna happen. The Will Levis experience was funny, exciting, horrible, a lot of things. But unfortunately, me and other people who weren't so high on him was right. Cam Ward, for a lot of people, is the top quarterback. And, he's been on live streams doing Fortnite talking about Treylon Burks. So if that doesn't tell you that they're drafting him, nothing will. So we'll see. Hopefully they can draft him even more pieces, weapons to help him out there. And, for number two now, kind of chalk the next probably maybe 2 picks. We don't know. It's either Hunter or Abdul Carter, but since they re-signed Garrett, I don't think that edge is a big need. Maybe if they want to do the two-headed monster thing, I could see it, but from all reports, from all understandings and hearings, it's leaning towards Travis Hunter, who they see more as a receiver. Their GM has stated, but I do still think they'd play him both ways. Maybe just more at receiver starting off. But my number one player. So I would hate that the clowns of all people are drafting him, but it is what it is. So then at the number 3 spot, the Giants. Again, they spent a lot of time with Shedeur. You're hearing rumblings now with Jackson Dart they like. They had Abdul Carter in. Again, I wouldn't be surprised. Shedeur. But I don't know. It's just it's kind of like how, if you guys remember a couple years ago, the smoke screens about how the Texans weren't going to draft CJ, and I was like, they're just going to have to, because like I don't see how they don't, because they don't have a good quarterback on the roster. Like, they just had Davis Mills, but and like you heard leading up, that's like, okay, he's gonna 1 or 2 is gonna be Bryson CJ, and then last couple of weeks it's like But for this one, it's like they have Russ, they have Jameis. I think they're good enough for this year. I don't think you bring those guys in to be backups, or like, what are you gonna cut Jameis now? I think he's a solid backup. I don't think you'd waste money and time getting him. And then Russ is obviously the bridge starter. But yeah, so all that being said, Giants fans are disappointed in Kayvon Thibodeau, so potentially he could be a trade guy, and a guy that you're gonna have to pay money, pay extra for. His rookie deal's coming up, so I think they just continue to build up that edge roster, and I got them picking Abdul Carter. So now the Patriots at 4, again, could go a lot of fun places. Tedero McMillan, get Drake May a receiving threat. Hell, even Genty, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think that you gotta, build the line. The line has been terrible. It's just dog shit, right? It's been bad, and you can get skill guys in the later rounds. They picked up Diggs. You never know if Keyshawn Booty's gonna be good. Polk and Baker, hopefully to God they'll improve and be something this year. But if not, again, second round, I think they have a high second round pick. They can get a wide receiver, running back, third round, maybe, something like that. So I got him drafting Will Campbell, my top tackle or just lineman in general. If all else fails, put him at guard, but they need help at every position, I feel like, damn near. So like that. Then 5, the Jags. This becomes really fun and interesting. You've heard Mason Graham for a while, for months. And then now, as you do, last week, the draft, you hear little rumblings, inklings, getting a lot of Ashton Genty buzz. I'm personally a Travis Etienne fan, but, I hear the debates about he can be, he's not like untouchable and like he's upgradable, I guess, as a running back, or even if you want to do running back by committee thing. But they also have Tank Bigsby, Tedero McMillan, Liam Cohen coming from Tampa Bay. You have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, big physical X receiver. Give Trevor some weapons. Give Brian Thomas a running mate there. Because I'm not too high on Gabe Davis, and they got Dwamie Brown. He's a deep threat guy. He's fine, I guess. But so I can see that. They don't have Evan Ingram anymore, so Tyler Warren potentially. How about if they moved back? I think I'm able to do trades here, but again, I think it's just smoke and mirrors. I think they got the new GM Gladstone or whatever, younger guy from the Rams organization. They value trenches and building from that. So I'm going to stay put, have them draft Mason Graham. Wouldn't be surprised if that isn't the pick. But, I'm me. I'm trying to be consistent in what I think is going to happen, a little more safe, conservative, maybe in the later years, I'll do like a couple more mock drafts, make them more wild, but got Mason Graham there. So, and if the board ends up this way, I think the Raiders, they need running back help, they need explosiveness. They got Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll. They both love the running game. I think Ashton Genty is a great pick there. Then for the Jets, again, for me, it's kind of chalk. They need a tackle to be on the other side of Fashiono. And, the NFL, all reports, they love Armand Membu. They have him high on his board, and then just the league in general is very high on him. So I think Membu's going there. Then to, I guess, keep it more chalk, the Panthers and Jalen Walker have been tied together for months. He's a good athlete, mold of clay. They need help on the edge, I guess, and then helping, just the line, but whatever you want to put him as. I think he'll probably be more of an edge than a linebacker. What I'm saying, I'll be the dumbass that just thinks of him as an inside linebacker. So I'm trying to see where else they could go potentially. McMillan, Will Johnson, Johnny Barron maybe, but again, conservative. I'll go Jalen Walker, and then the Saints. This is the fun time. This is where, like, what's gonna happen? What are we gonna do? They can go a lot of ways. They need a lot of help. Shadur, obviously, Derek Carr, I guess, is gonna not play the whole year. Will Johnson. Kenneth, no. Yeah, they have a lot of holes. McMillan. Kyler Warren, Will Johnson. See, this is really you guys know I don't script this. I felt good about these first picks, but yeah, let's. I don't know. I think they're fine enough with testing out. Spencer Rattler and the Derek Carr situation. I just don't know how Kellen Moore feels about Shedeur, and I don't think they spent a lot of time with him. And then you hear reports about how they like Jackson Dart as well, who they could potentially get in the second round or so. So I say let's give him a playmaker. Then the receiving core is always injured, and I do think he's a good enough player that shouldn't be slipping. So let's give him Tedro McMillan. 10 now with the Bears, but again, they could, I don't know, they could go anywhere. I mean, if Mason Graham falls, let's say the Jags pick McMillan or Genty, I don't know, because then I think the Raiders would just pick him up, but I don't know. This draft is going to be fun and unpredictable and wild, so calling my shots. The Bears can go a plethora of ways. I think edge and tackle. Michael Williams is there. Shamar Stewart's like an athlete that I think they'd like. Mike Green has character concerns, and I've heard from Bears fans that are really locked in that they wouldn't draft a person like that who has a concerning past, let's say, a troubling past, So I think they'd just shore up the offensive line, future-proof it. Jonah Jackson has some injury histories, unfortunately, so I think just a solid guy. Could play tackle, could play guard. I think Kelvin Banks Jr. would be a good fit. So now with the 49ers, they need a lot of help. I guess this could be a trade spot too. The amount of teams that could trade back. Patriots always, Jaguars possibly, Panthers and or Saints, but it's like I don't know who would really move up and like what they want. This is the first draft, by the way, since like the merger or whatever, where all 32 teams have their first round pick. We'll talk about a team later who I really think is going to trade down just because they don't have a lot of picks. But for right now, Niners, I'm thinking either line, possibly corner with Will Johnson or Jade Barron. But I think the biggest concern for them and something that they want to improve is their D-line, especially with Robert Saleh back. I think a guy with all the potential in the world. Again, I've heard inklings and intel that they're high on this guy. I'm high on him too, obviously. I have my DT2, but I'm going to make them pick Walter Nolan. So now number 12, you got the Cowboys. They don't have, they wanted Genty. I could see them picking Calvin Banks Jr. So, Amarion Hampton, they could still pick. I think of maybe an edge guy, Pierce, Michael Williams, Jahad Campbell is very intriguing, but I think they're high on a receiver who's from Texas, Matthew Golden. Give Dak another weapon. Give CD a running mate. He's not my receiver too, but I think NFL teams are higher on him because, that fast forwarding, he is a good playmaker. He has potential. So, yeah, we'll have them picking him. 13 now, the Miami Dolphins. Tackle, guard is a big unknown. Armstead got retired. But they drafted Patrick Paul Jr. last year, so I'd say give him a chance. The guards that are available, is Gray Zabel really... Is this his range? Booker, I don't know if he'd fit their scheme. Donovan, you guys know I love, but maybe a little too early. And then with like Banks and Campbell, guys who could potentially move into guard, already gone. I think corner is now the biggest need, especially with them wanting to trade Jalen Ramsey. Even if they kept him, they'd need a running mate, and I think Will Johnson here would be a good fit. I think he's the best corner on the board right now, which sets up the Colts perfectly to, of course, draft Tyler Warren. They need tight end help badly. And again, just give Anthony Richardson all the weapons for him to have no excuse to hopefully develop. If not, Daniel Jones. Make him look respectable. But yeah, Warren, I could see him getting drafted to even the Jets or the Jags here before him. But I just don't know if they really value or think that that's such a big need for them at that position at tight end. Well, I think you can get other quality guys later in the draft. So 15 now. Falcons. I got him as a needing edge. So it's going to be one of these, like 3. Michael, Shamar, Mike, or James Pierce. They can go abundance of ways. See, Michael's not like the big production pass rusher. Mike Green is, but again, he has concerns, so we don't know if they'd draft him. Shamar, I could see he's a big athlete. You know what? Let's have him draft Shamar, because I think the NFL is high on him. Big, physical, raw mold of clay that they could potentially develop. So I like it a lot. We'll say that. 16 Cardinals. D-line, corner, maybe receiver, maybe. I'm gonna go D-line for them. Rich Gannon, defensive-minded guy. I think he has them playing well enough, respectable, but you just need guys there. You need good athletes and a guy with a lot of potential and, can pass, rush effectively, can stop the run effectively. I think he can even improve in the pass aspect. I got him drafting Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. Like it a lot. I just think it's a good fit. And then the Bungles on the clock. Again, I think D-line is their most important position of need. Maybe corner, if like Will Johnson was here. Safety, even with Malachi Starks or Eamon Worry. I think Starks would fit them more, but you guys know the gimmick that people want. They want new DC Al Golden to be reunited with Xavier Watts and probably, like, let's say the second round. Maybe they trade up if he's really a hot commodity. So yeah, I'm looking at edge and a guy who, again, good talent, has some character concerns, but that's not something the Bengals have ever really shied away from. Azaraku too, or Pierce, but I'm going to go with Mike Green. I don't have any intel if they really even visited him or did any type of research with him. I could see Michael or Azaraku as well. James Pierce also. I like him a lot, but I think he might slip down boards. So let's just have them draft him. You know what I'm saying? Now, if the Seahawks at 18, this could go a myriad of ways. Guard is their biggest need, for sure. But we already know their GM doesn't value guard. So would my dumbass, like I did with the Falcons, who clearly don't value edge, draft an edge guy anyway? It might be best available. I mean, edge they could also do. Aaron, I don't know. Possibly Colston Loveland, Malachi Starks. I don't know. I think it's going to get wacky in these. The end of this first round can go in a myriad of ways. Maybe someone trades up for Shador, trades back for Shador, like the Browns or Giants, maybe. But do I just give them a guard and tackle? Let's do it. Fuck it. Let's just give him Gray Zabel. I mean, yeah, at some point, like, especially someone like Sam Darnold, like, he is under duress and is, terrible when inside pressure comes to him. Like, he's very ineffective that way. So you need someone who can help him with that. So either, and Zabel did play some tackle. I'm sure they're going to bump him into guard because of his arm length. So probably a dumb pick, but I guess that's going to be the what would I do thing. This is, I try to be more predictive, but yeah. 19, this is easy for me. Jahad Campbell, the best linebacker, really good athletic freak, can develop with Levante David there. Like it a lot. As well as 20 for me would be easy if I was them. Sean Payton wants running back. You've heard little rumblings that they might even trade up for potentially running back or tight end. That they like Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland's here. They could potentially do that, but they did sign Evan Ingram, so I don't think it's that, it's not their biggest need as, let's say, the run game would be. Or maybe even corner, Barron's there, but I just like Amarion Hampton to them. I think it's a good fit. Then my Steelers, as of this recording, Aaron Rodgers is not yet signed. I still think at this point, I don't know. I'm still leaning 60-40. Aaron's going to sign with us. But regardless of if he is or isn't, I think if Shador is there, which he is, not because of what I think of him, but just what I think from the teams, from what I'm seeing, Giants, maybe. Still there might be a chance he's worked out with them a lot. I'd say don't be surprised if the Raiders pick him up because, Brady's there. They have that connection. Quarterback of the future is, how long do you really think Geno Smith's going to be their starting quarterback and play at a high level? Jets, no, I think Fields, they'll just roll with him. Saints, again, depending on how much they really like him, but we don't know. All signs don't really point to it. But, yeah, it's like if how the board's going and people like Will Johnson, Kenneth Grant are gone, Nolan, we could potentially, draft Derek Harmon, but I've heard reports that he might have an injury concern. Then, Jade Barron fits us, Starks fits us, Imanori fits us, but, you need a quarterback, you need a quarterback of the future, you need someone there to develop, but I think he'd be ready week 1, so I'm going to have us pick my boy Shadur. I would talk a lot of shit if we did. I'd be very confident and happy for us and, hopeful of the future. I don't know. It's 50-50, but just he could easily, just be drafted in the top 10 or someone move up ahead of us. But I just how the board is looking, I have us picking Shador Sanders there, regardless if Aaron signs or not, or before or after, the draft that he, decides to do that. Number 22, give Herbert some more weapons. You guys have probably seen this a lot. Colston Loveland, obviously, with that weird cheating freak that they got as a coach. They have a connection, unfortunately. But yeah, he fits them a lot, and good tight end, good offensive threat. So have him picking them as now the Green Bay Packers. I don't know, corner, a receiver maybe, but I think they just again keep developing the line, get talented guys there. Michael Williams, athletic SEC edge. I think it fits Gutekunst's profile there at GM. And here we go. Here's the team I was talking about with the Minnesota Vikings, who don't have... look at this. They only have 4 picks in the draft. So I'm going to have them trade with a team that's always aggressive and really needs line play, as you saw how embarrassed they were in the Super Bowl, as they have multiple second-round picks or day 2 picks or whatever the fuck. And let's just give them that. Give them a first-rounder next year. Give them that. Let's just to make it work, So I think the Chiefs jump Texans and the Rams and the Ravens, who could potentially all pick linemen, and draft my boy Josh Simmons out of the you know what I'm saying? I think it fits them a lot. They need help at that position. Josh Simmons, who again, a lot of what I'm hearing, scouts and teams alike love him a lot. He might even be higher, like a top 2 lineman or tackle when healthy. So I fully believe that. So now that they leapfrog the Texans, who would probably eye him, you'd still think maybe Booker potentially, or Connerly, could see them picking him up. But I think they're like moving Tyus Howard or Little around. I think they're just going to try it out. They need more weapons. I know they got traded for Christian Kirk, but I don't know if he's a long-term fit. Someone I do think is a long-term fit, and a guy who has history with your quarterback, it just only makes sense to me. And just me, I guess this is, again, one of the ones that I would do. I got a Mecca, so back-to-back Ohio State guys. I think he just fits it. Strong, tough, physical guy. Don't have to worry about... he does had some nagging injuries here and there, but nothing long-term. I do think Emeka could potentially go to the Packers, maybe even the Steelers still, if Shadur and all these other guys that we wanted are already gone. Potentially the Broncos as well, but I think this is his range, like 20 to 26. I can see the Rams picking him up. But since the Rams now, tackles are gone, Mecca's gone, you could potentially still go with Luther Burden or something like that. Malachi Starks is here. I think Johnny Barron just fits them. I like, you just wait it out, and a guy who potentially could go top 10, 15 falls to you a little bit. Again, young, hungry defense are all on cheap deals. I think the Rams, now that they have first-round picks, they were just hitting on their later draft picks, the past couple of years, but I like that a lot. Now the Ravens up, they could go a myriad of ways here. Again, to me, it's like, what position is the most needing for them? I could see them going Starks. I could see them going Amenori. James Pierce, I think, fits them. Booker fits them. Harmon fits them. Luther Burden, maybe, if they want to, have luxury. As Araku, Definitely feels like a Baltimore Raven to me. And of course, Jackson Dart, if all else fails. No. But I don't know. I think long term, you want to have someone there at tackle for Lamar. And I'm going to go with Josh Connerly. I think a tough, athletic lineman. I think he fits them. I think he fits them. Now 28. The Lions, they need edge help. I think they're going to draft James Pierce Jr. if he's there. The concerns about him is more of like an effort thing. I know that really kind of goes against Dan Campbell's lifestyle, but I think he'd get the best out of him. I think he's an athlete that he'd want to like push and yeah, just get the best out of the young man, you know. Commanders now, again, they're weird. Again, they could go anywhere. And we're back. I had to give the Vikings the very first pick because I know if you guys didn't notice that the Chiefs still had that pick. I forgot to like trade them that pick. So thank God for editing. Thank God for this simulator where you can undo picks, undo trades, and like go back and do it. So a myriad of ways for the Commanders. You know, line, guard, tackle, say. I mean, I don't know. They can go a lot of ways, but I think this could be a luxury pick for them. You know, you got Debo in a trade. You got Terry McLaurin, but they're kind of older guys. And a guy who's still here, who's falling, I guess, because of, let's say, his character concerns, diva, whatever the hell you want to say. Let them pick Luther Burden III. I think he fit them very well. Nice, athletic, speedy offense for Jaden Daniels, another playmaker. I like it a lot, so I said fuck it. Now at 30, Buffalo Bills could go also a couple ways. You might just say best player available. I don't know. But, you know, D-line, you saw how you beat the Chiefs, right? You got to improve the D-line, get some pass rushers, get, you know, someone to attack them, to prevent the run even. So, edge, you look at edge, who's here? Nazaraku. You guys know I love Jack and JT. Don't know if they're first round guys. Same thing with Swinson and Princely. So I'm thinking more interior, especially now that Ogunjobi was suspended for a little bit. Derek Harmon's still here. I do think he's still a quality player first round available. I think he could potentially be here with us. Chargers. I don't think the Chiefs will trade up for him, but you know, Ravens even. But just for right now, we have them here. Vikings, we got you guys. Don't worry, we got you guys. Your draft pick, a person who I think they would draft at 24 if he was there. But you know, you trade back, get some picks. Malachi Starks, definitely the best player available. You guys know I love safety. He could really still go 13 maybe. 17, 18, like, he can be in this range, but just how we got the draft board falling. We got him there, and then the luxury pick for the Eagles, they don't really have needs any, you know. They could go, probably none of these guys. D-line, Scorton, I like. Alexander, Ezraku. I'm thinking Tyler Booker, but we're going to make him draft Donovan Ezraku. I think they just want a guy off the edge. As we load it up, this is my first round draft. We'll go through it. We got Cam Ward to the Titans, Travis Hunter to those clowns, Abdul Carter, Giants, Will Campbell, Patriots, Mason Graham, Jags, Ashton Genty, Raiders, Jets go for Armand Mimbu, tackle the future. Jalen Walker with those Panthers. Tedero McMillan to the Saints. Kelvin Banks Jr., Texas, to the Bears. 49ers get your boy Walter Nolan. Dumb old Texas to dumb old Texas. Matthew Golden to the Cowgirls. Dolphins get Will Johnson. 14, Tyler Warren, Penn State, to the Colts. Shamar Stewart, athletic freak, to the Falcons. Kenneth Grant, anchor there for the Cardinals at 16. 17, Mike Green, edge rusher, to those Bungles. 18, Gray Zabel, probably won't happen at all. 19, Jod Campbell, Alabama Buccaneer. Omarion Hampton is your new leading rusher for the Broncos. Steelers get the future GOAT in Shadur Sanders. 22, Colston Loveland reunites with that cheating crook Goober at coach. Number 23, the Packers get insert athletic edge rusher. 24, the Chiefs move up to draft Josh Simmons. 15, Texans get my boy Emeka out of the 26. Rams get Jahdae Barron, nice versatile corner. 27, Ravens get Josh Connolly Jr. out of Oregon. 28, James Pierce Jr., dog. Tennessee goes to Lions. 29, Luther Burden, because why not? To the Commanders. Number 30, Derek Hardman. To the Bills. 31, Malachi Starks. Should be way higher. Vikings. And then 32, Donovan Ezeraku. To your Philadelphia Eagles. This has been a fun draft process. I might be back for reactions. I'm feeling juiced up. I really like this class. A lot of people say, there's not a bunch of stars, but there's good starters. I like starters personally. The boomer bust guys is fun, but, I don't have Jalen Milroe here, unfortunately. I guess don't be surprised if him or Dart gets drafted by maybe my Steelers or someone trades back in, Giants, Browns. But I don't know. I like this mock draft here, and me saying that, I'm going to get probably 3 of them right. But this has been your boy King Kaleb here, signing the fuck out.